Once Lost came on and became a big hit, suddenly the idea of a serial drama was a good idea. I think actually at one point where you would talk to Steven Spielberg about being involved, right?
Yeah, I basically turned in the pilot in January of '04, and the great thing about, the good and bad thing about turning in a pilot for television is that it's not like features where something can remain in development for years and years and years and years and years, which, you know, I have like, at that point, like 10 or 12 films that are just sitting on shelves, just rotting in the various studios around town, and it can be very frustrating for a writer. But the good thing about television is that, you know, generally everyone turns in their pilot spec or script at the same time, and they'll basically tell you within 3 or 4 weeks, hey, we're shooting this next month, or it's not happening, right? And so I was ready for that kind of feedback, and I turned in the script, and Gail Berman, who was president of Fox at the time, said, this is really great. Provisionally, we want to make it. And all of a sudden, we were sliding back into that feature world. But because it was such an unorthodox beast and Lost had not yet been released, and, you know, surprisingly they had 24, but the idea of a serialized show made them a little bit nervous, so they felt like, well, what if we make a mini-series out of this? And let's get a marquee name. So-and-so presents Prison Break, right? And so they ended up giving it to Spielberg, and he responded, so I had to go over there and give him the whole pitch, and where does, which I had to answer 1,000,000 times before, you know, we ever got greenlit, was where does the series go? And so I had to do that song and dance in front of him, and I thought I was going to collapse before I walked in there, but it all worked out pretty well. And he said, actually, that he would be involved. He said, I would love to do this. Let's do this. The only thing that I can't do is let this pull me away from directing. And if any of my directing things slot up, I have to take that. And so, of course, I was praying, you know, let all his, you know, fail. But War of the Worlds slotted up, and so he fell off. So now it's gone about 8 or 9 months. And at that stage, and I believe it was in September of that year, is when Lost had its huge, huge, huge debut. And I literally got a call from the studio the next day. They go, we're making the pilot for series, right? And so all those things, you know, all those hoops that I had to jump through of how we could prove this thing could sustain itself, all of a sudden disappeared. It was just like, let's make a series. You'll figure it out.
God love television, huh?
Yep. Fast and Furious.